Next up, we have a very inspirational lady that has been a part of the Crypto Valley ecosystem for quite some time. Please welcome to the stage Saro of Dacoco and Alien Worlds. Thank you.
Thanks. Hi. Nice to be here again and see everyone in Zug. I actually live about 10 minutes down the road, and our company is headquartered at the CV Labs building. So it's really a pleasure when everybody comes to town, and this is right on our doorstep. I'm Saro Mckenna. I'm a co-founder of Alien Worlds and the CEO of Dacoco, which is the company that produced Alien Worlds. What I'd like to talk about today is the point of inflection that we're very fortuitously at with blockchain technology, whereby all of the characteristics of building on a blockchain, so immutability, transparency, have reached the point where we're able to build sophisticated decentralized applications on chain. And what that's meaning then is that these actual application logic that resides on chain allows those blockchain characteristics to find an expression in complex applications, like in our case, gaming applications, and all the things that then result from that. So the key sort of result of being able to build on chain, and the fact now that blockchain technology is mature enough that we can build sophisticated applications on chain, is that communities are able to develop around these applications. And in fact, communities are able to build their own functionality, their own NFTs, their own DAOs. They come together because of the fundamental technical architecture, which is running on public permissionless chains. This is a really revolutionary point that we're at, and the fact that we're seeing blockchain gaming in particular, but also some other more complex dApps that are being built on chain, reach the levels of scale that we're now achieving is an indication of the maturity of the technology, and also a reflection of the promise that's to come, which is that as we encode more sophisticated decentralized applications directly on blockchains, we see communities and decentralized groups of people being able to add their own points of value into those systems and achieve greater and greater scale. Okay, so I'll come in a little bit more about what Alien Worlds is, for those of you who don't already know. But we are the company that built Alien Worlds, which is the largest blockchain game by users in the world. It's actually also the largest dApp in the world by number of users and number of transactions. So you can go onto dapradar.com on your phones, and you'll see that we're top of the dApp rankings. We're also founder members of OMA3, the Open Metaverse Alliance for Web3, along with some of the other largest metaverse and gaming projects like the Sandbox, Animoca, Dapper Labs, Decentralized. So we were founder members of OMA3. And actually, OMA3, interestingly, is also now based right here in Zug. It's a consortium of metaverses, the largest metaverses, and the intention is, and what we're building amongst the working groups right now, is standards. So we've reached that point where there are enough relatively highly scaled gaming metaverses now, that being able to provide for interoperability between those metaverses is the vision of what a metaverse is, right? Is where you can have interoperability between different environments and allow users to port their assets, port their identities, port their histories, their reputation across environments. And that's what OMA3 is doing. So it's coming together to create standards, technical standards, that allow for the porting of assets and identities from, for example, the Sandbox into Alien Worlds into Upland. And this requires a lot of technical coordination, and certain other things. Like, for example, some legal standardization is also beneficial. So being able to standardize the terms and conditions that players are interacting with, and various other types of porting, standardization, and so on. I'm actually going to skip forward. I didn't get to, okay. So Alien Worlds, that's the dApp radar ranking there, so the largest dApp. We're located on 3 chains, on the Wax blockchain, on the BNB chain, and on Ethereum. We were the first highly scaled dApp to be interoperable between 3 chains, and we run a decentralized bridge between those 3 chains. You can see there, so our unique active wallets per day, about 240, 250,000 unique active wallets. That's very large by blockchain standards. It's not so large outside of the blockchain space, but by blockchain standards, that's pretty big. You can see by contrast, Axie Infinity has about 180,000 unique active wallets, and they're a very sizable project in this space. Our NFT, the number of NFT holders is also the highest of any collection. So that's the number of unique holders. The dollar value of that collection is not nearly as high as some of the other, especially ETH-based large NFT collections. But the number of unique wallets that are holding those NFTs is extremely large. And that's indicative of the fact that in a game like ours, people are buying NFTs in order to play. So in Alien Worlds, you need certain NFTs in order to then play the game. And so they're buying and selling those NFTs in order to curate a gaming strategy. They're not primarily buying and selling those NFTs to simply be part of a project that they think is about to do very well. And so I think that that's a sign of a healthy system. Lower value NFTs, but a lot of holders of them and a lot of transactions between them. And this is, again, how as blockchain technology is maturing and we're seeing bigger user bases who are using the tokens for actual reasons, that we see those prices becoming more modest, right? Which is, I think, something that all of us would want to see. It's the sign of a healthier system. Yeah, so the token is also, traded in large volumes every day. And as mentioned, a lot of on-chain transactions per day. So over 10 million transactions per day are done calling our smart contracts. That's, amongst the highest of all dApps in the world. And that's because people are playing the game on these 3 different chains. They're transporting the token between the chains. They're really actively using the technology. Okay, I'm going to go back to where I actually was. Okay. Okay, so this is just a little kind of glimpse inside Alien Worlds and what you can do. The game has been live since the end of 2021, and it's kind of growing all the time in terms of the different features and functionality. So when you first enter Alien Worlds, you get some NFTs that help you to play. You can select a planet, and you can start to mine on that planet. Each planet has different topographical features, which allow for different mining strategies. But each planet is also a DAO, a fully on-chain DAO. And so you can then use the fungible token that you've earned to stake into one of those planet DAOs, and each of those planet DAOs are competing against each other. So they're like teams in the game. And if you'll notice, what we're describing really is a tokenized system where there's different types of tokens, each of which is representing a different aspect of gameplay. So the fungible token is used to represent aggregate power, reward, and value, right? So you need a lot of the token to stake into these planet DAOs and become dominant on a planet, to take over a planet. Or you might want to take over the other guy's planet. That means you need a lot of our token to do that. But you also need NFTs to do certain things, right? NFTs represent unique items, and they're very useful in a gaming environment because you can represent unique items, like, for example, a particular piece of land or a particular mining excavator or a particular character. So NFTs are part of the different types of tokens that get used in a complex system. But also, and I think this is a conceptual step that a few of us are taking right now around DAOs, DAOs are also a tokenized on-chain construct. Just like fungible tokens and just like non-fungible tokens, DAO tokens represent a group of people. A group of people tokenized on-chain, all of whom share a certain motivation, right? They're all part of the same community. They are all governing the same treasury. They're all using the same token, so they share a set of incentives, just like any team, right? So it's a really good gaming construct because you can represent a team of people, and then that team of people naturally collaborates between themselves, but also competes against the other teams. So those are the 6 planets of Alien Worlds. Currently, Veles, Neri, Iki, Neron, Magor, and Cavian. And each of those DAOs control the treasury, they vote on proposals. There are 5 custodians every week dynamically elected by the smart contracts of those DAOs, and they're competing against each other. Okay, so what then? I started the conversation by talking about how, we're at this point of inflection with blockchain technology, that it's sophisticated enough that we can encode these fairly complex systems directly on chain. And what then does that mean? And what I was proposing is that what that means is that a whole community can build something together, and in fact, you can scale more rapidly because of that. So this open architecture, building on public permissionless chains, leads to more scale. That has been true for us. And I think that that is essentially the model of how dApps grow, is that all of the people here, so the people involved in the DAOs, using these NFTs, what that leads to is value creation, because they own those digital assets themselves. They own the DAO tokens that they're voting with, they own the NFTs, and this then creates a far more vibrant ecosystem. So this is sort of a slide that's like appealing to people in terms of why they might want to come and join to be a custodian in Alien Worlds. So every week I mentioned on these 6 planet DAOs, there are 5 custodians. They get elected dynamically. What then can that mean or do? Well, if you have an outside community and all of you come and take over a planet within Alien Worlds, which has happened. We have one of our planets is predominantly owned by a gaming community that came initially from outside Alien Worlds. What that does is it gives them a focal point for their activity, and it also gives them a treasury of Trillium, because in our game, each of these planet DAOs gets Trillium every week to be able to spend. Trillium is our fungible token. That means that that community then has some resources to be able to spend every week, and they have a focal point. They're able to vote on proposals, all of which is on-chain. They're able to express their membership of the community by staking into that DAO and voting. So through the tokenization of communities as DAOs, this allows communities of people to express their membership of a community, to find a way of gathering resources, and then to expand upon whatever their goals are. So autonomous fan activity is essentially what derives from that, right? Is a focal point for fans and communities to be able to generate value within their DAO. And then what are some of the things that you can end up seeing in this metaverse economy in which DAOs are one of the foundational tokenized elements? Well, a DAO is a blockchain account that's governed through multi-sig permissions by the people that have staked into the DAO in a stake-weighted DAO like the ones that we have. So then that DAO, that blockchain account, can transact with other blockchain accounts. And in fact, the tokens themselves, the tokens of the DAO, become the membership instrument. So we have situations where, the different DAO communities are, so for example, Veles being one of our planets and Cavian being another of our planets, they can form collaborative relationships between them by having co-ownership structures, right? So Cavian members can also own part of Veles and vice versa. And what that means then is that they're co-incentivized to potentially do something together. So basically, there's lots of different types of token flows and sort of cross-holdings or competitive structures that can result, and that do result from the fact that each of these DAOs is a tokenized entity. I think my time is nearly up. Just to mention that one of the results of this, at the very beginning, we described Dacoco as the primary contributor to the Alien Worlds metaverse. And what that's gesturing towards is that all of these community groups are also producing activity code, business activity into the metaverse, including private companies who are earning profit, and sort of their entire company is based on providing services into Alien Worlds. And another time I can take you through the Cavian heist. This is a little community happening that happened recently where a new set of custodians took over a planet and caused a lot of drama by draining the treasury. And then later on, it was revealed that they were white hat actors who wanted to highlight that community engagement and voting was really significant. So they put some on-chain notes into various of their transactions. So this is the type of thing that just happens in the community because they're able to stake, vote, run, to be custodians themselves. I didn't get. Cool. So become an Alien Worlds custodian and be part of this highly scaled experiment in blockchain governance. Thank you.